We'll go ahead and begin. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this evening's meeting. This is the, well, we got number 16 of the year so far in 2025, meeting of the Board of Directors. We'll begin with an invocation by Reverend Leslie Roper of the First Presbyterian Church of Hot Springs, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise.
Thank you. Let us pray. Oh God, we come before you today with gratitude. We thank you for the waters that run beneath our city, giving us our name and our identity, and we thank you for the showers that fall from the sky, offering a break in the heat that has blanketed us lately. Let your living water flow through us, that we might offer your grace in a world that thirsts for righteousness. I thank you tonight for these, your servants, for our mayor, for our city council members, for all the city staff who keep our community going. I give thanks for the way of service they have chosen to take up on behalf of all of us who live here. It is a complex community they represent and to whom they are responsible, from the children who ride school buses to retirees who need services, from first-time visitors to lifelong residents, from business owners to the homeless on the street. So tonight we pray that you would give them wisdom, give them strength, give them courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. Remind us all to put the interest of others above our own. Instill in us a desire to act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in each person we meet. Bless each of us here and each member of this community, that we in turn might be a blessing in your world. All this we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday. Here. Director Phyllis Beard.
Present.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith. Director Dudley Webb.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia.
Here.
Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. At this time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda or items to be moved from the consent agenda to new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
Director Trustee, second by Director Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Now, at this time, we'll consider the approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting held on August 5th, 2025. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented?
Motion to approve the minutes, Mayor.
Second.
We got a motion by Director Webb, seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Minutes are adopted. Special recognitions this evening. I'd like to call upon our Hot Springs Fire Chief, Ed Davis, for a special recognition.
Directors, thank you for taking this opportunity tonight to recognize one of our great firefighters. Captain John Moore is our Elks 2025 Firefighter of the Year. John has been on the fire department for many years and served in a lot of different capacities. What sets John apart is in each of the capacities he served on the fire department, as firefighter, as driver, as lieutenant, and as captain, he has excelled above many of his peers. John is a very trustworthy man, one that does an outstanding job on the fire ground. You can always count on John to do the right thing for the citizens of Hot Springs and also for its fire department. And so, with your permission, I'd like to bring John forward tonight and allow him to say a few words and allow you to say a few words to him. John.
Hey, thank you guys for allowing us to come here and be before you. Chief, thanks for the kind words. I don't have a lot to say other than there's a lot of people at the station and on this wall that could be standing here in my place, and we can't do the job without you guys' support. So we appreciate Mayor, City, the directors. Bill, we thank you for supporting our department. we couldn't do it without the resources you give us. So as you continue to support us, we'll continue to try to exceed our those we care for's expectations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Again, directors, thank you for doing this for us. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. We have another recognition. I'm going to call upon City Director, District 4, Director Webb, for this special recognition.
Thank you, Mayor. It was about, well, actually, it was a week ago today, early morning hours last Tuesday, when many of us were enjoying probably sleep at 12:30, 12 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't the case for those that live at Birchwood Harbor Apartments. And if we remember right, this was the night when a massive thunderstorm went through Hot Springs. Lots of loud thunder, lots of lightning strikes everywhere, and those lightning strikes hit this apartment complex at about midnight last Tuesday, causing one entire apartment unit to be burned beyond repair. There's about 6 units, I think around 21 residents who live in those 6 units. As troubling and as much of a tragedy that was, and that many are still facing and dealing with today, there was that silver lining that took place as well. There was somebody, resident of Hot Springs, whose quick thinking saved people's lives. At the time of this lightning strike at Birchwood Harbor, he recognized the sound, he recognized the lighting that took place. He got up, he looked outside, he noticed that it was a fire and the flames were growing. His quick thinking to call 911 to request fire, his also quick thinking to go check on those in this unit is what saved many people's lives that night. He went door to door in that unit to help people get out to safety. Children, women, men of all ages. One family that he checked on happened to be asleep at the time. Didn't even know the storm was going through, knew nothing about lightning, especially knew nothing about a fire. It was this man who woke this family up. This was a family too with children. Gathered everybody and as much belongings as they could take and led this family to safety. He's a hero in our community and he's here with us here tonight. Before I introduce him and allow him to come up here to be recognized and say a few words, I want to first give some thanks to many organizations here in our community for the help that they provided to those residents at Birchwood Harbor. First, after meeting with a couple of the families from Birchwood Harbor, all of which were displaced, one of the resources that they needed right now is somewhere to stay. Many are finding temporary residence with friends here in town and family members, couch surfing, if you will. I thought, okay, that's the first stop, is how do we get somewhere for these residents to stay? And so I reached out to our Community Resource Center, and with our city manager, Bill Burrow's help, the Community Resource Center, in working with a lot of landowners here in town, have provided several different options for those that are displaced from Birchwood Harbor. So I want to give a special thanks to our Community Resource Center for being here in a time of need for our residents, especially Chris, who's the director there, Boyce, and our city manager, Bill Burrow. The time response to me with this request was as fast as lightning. Just as fast as it struck tragedy in our community, the help and response to provide to these residents also happened just as quick. So thank y'all for doing that. Thank you for the businesses and landowners that are providing a lot of assistance and aid for these families. I do know there are at least 2 from this apartment complex that did suffer some 2nd and 3rd degree burns, so they're going through some therapy and some medical treatment as we speak. But if any of you that are watching that I haven't visited with yet from Birchwood Harbor, please give me a call for assistance. Please give our Community Resource Center a call for assistance. We are standing by and all of us are ready to assist in any way we can. With that being said, I want to bring up one of the men of the hour, Christian Wallace. Mr. Wallace is a resident here of Hot Springs, lives at Birchwood Harbor Apartments, and in my opinion, is a hero. Christian, if you will, come to the podium, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Welcome, Christian. Tell us about the events of that evening.
I mean, it was a very tragic night and everything. I was just trying to enjoy my night because I love watching thunderstorms. And that's when I had discovered that 2 women were outside screaming, and I thought it was just a firework going off. Someone was setting off a firework and it caught the grass on fire somehow. But then I had realized that it was worse than that, and I had looked over my rail, looked up over my balcony rail a little bit further, and noticed that the whole entire side had lit up orange, and that's when I had discovered that it was a fire, and I had knocked on the glass, and I told my wife to call 911 as fast as possible, and she was in shock, and I said, "Call 911, please." And by the time I said that, I had gone inside, thrown on my shoes, and another buddy of mine had thrown on his shoes, and we both ran over there, and we tried to do what we could. I mean, we weren't able to make it to the 3rd floor. I know that was kind of misconstrued and everything with THB 11 saying that we made it to the 3rd floor. We did not. Those people had already made it out, but at the same time, that shouldn't have ever happened and everything. That should have had some kind of warning. And in that building, they didn't have any sprinkler systems. They didn't have fire alarms. They didn't have any smoke alarms. And their fire extinguishers were way out of date. So.
Well, thank you so much for the quick reaction. We never know how we're going to react until it's upon us, and obviously you took all the proper steps.
Yes, sir.
So we appreciate that, and those people that you woke up and helped assist to safety, are most appreciative of your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christian.
Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. One more huge thanks, and it was on my notes, is our fire department, who's here tonight. We thank you for the service that you provided that evening. And even on that same night, less than maybe 2 blocks away, was another lightning strike that resulted in a fire, in this time of a residence or a home, and that was on Creekview. And the fire department here in Hot Springs was not only battling the blazes at Birchwood Harbor Apartments, but also battling the blazes at Creekview too. So we thank you for your service. Thank you so much.
Any other recognition of guests or comments in this section of the meeting? Hearing none, we'll call upon our city manager for the city manager's report, and I think if Karen Scott's going to provide her financial report.
That's correct, Mayor. Before I start with my report, I would like to call our finance director, Ms. Karen Scott, up for the quarterly financial report for the board. Karen?
Good evening and thank you. Sorry. The financials from June 30th, 2025 reflect in the general fund revenues over expenditures of $2.83 million. Last year, the amount was $5.05 million. Some of the changes that are reflected in this year's number are additional expenditures for personnel, of course, due to our, instituting the classified pay plan that gives people raises every year. We have also, if you'll remember, all debt service for Amendment 78 borrowing is paid for now out of the general fund, as well as $1.3 million additional transfers out, mostly for the new fire station. The fund balance, the restricted fund balance is 5.055 million, and the unrestricted fund balance is 37.1 million. The street fund revenues over expenditures are 500,543. That is also down from last year, which was 2.7 million, but it is in really relation to, as I've talked about before, we have many more millions of dollars of expenditures for paving this year than we've had in the past. The restricted fund balance in the street fund is 1.76 million, and the unrestricted fund balance is 14.3 million. In the water fund, the revenues exceed expenditures by 1.07 million. That is also down slightly from last year, and that is due to a decrease in interest revenues. If you'll remember, we've had interest investments for all of our construction funds, and those funds are dwindling down as those projects are wrapping up, so we have less interest revenues in the water fund. In the wastewater fund, revenues are under expenditures, so there's a slight decrease of 178,000. We have some additional expenditures this year of about 1.5 million. That's in personnel and services. So, and then in the solid waste fund, the revenues are over expenditures 372,000, which is about flat from last year. The fund balance in the water fund is 83.8 million. The wastewater fund balance is 58.5 million, and the solid waste fund balance is 8.3 million. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Scott? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Moving into my report, as I normally do, would like to recognize some of our new hires and promotions. We had Jameer Geddins has joined us in our street department. We've got a promotion to customer service coordinator in our utility billing. That was by Deborah Lujowski. And want to recognize Danny Burton. Danny's been with the city for 19 years as our lift stations manager. Danny retired this past week. Well-deserved retirement, so I wish Danny the best. And you know, he did more than just working our lift stations. He was also a CDL trainer, a certified CDL trainer that we had in the city that could work with individuals, because a lot of our jobs out in the field require a CDL license. And so Danny was very instrumental in helping several of our employees acquire or retain their CDL license. So we're going to try to backfill that, but really appreciate everything Danny did for the city while he was here. New animated video has been released to help the Community Jumpstart Survey and highlight the importance of community participation. The survey remains open until August the 22nd. CityHS/community-jumpstart. You can find that on our website. You can also get to it under the planning department under the cityhs.net. The Public Information Department has just kicked off a website redesign project of our current website. Current website needs some work. We've heard that over the past several months, and you know, it does a great job for the amount of information that we have on there. However, over the next several months, you'll see a lot of changes in the layout and the information to make it more accessible to our citizens. The current target date is right around the beginning of the year, but I know that our Public Information Department and Courtney and Katie will be working hard to get that redesign completed. On kind of a downturn note, we've had some damages occur recently in our facilities in Parks and Trails Department. We had a vehicle that ran through really a brand new fence at our soccer field at Linden Park. It damaged about 75 feet of that new chain link. We had just installed that in June. So we're working through trying to get that replaced. And then Wade Street Park, we've been doing a lot of improvements at Wade Street Park, and the restroom sustained about $7,000 in damages from just vandalism. We're replacing that with stainless steel fixtures. Those have arrived, and we should be getting those installed very soon. One of the things that we've had in kind of our eastern side of the city, the Ridgeway, Bel Air, several streets in that area, the city has contracted with the RJN Group to perform smoke testing. This is where they go in and actually fill the manholes with smoke. And you'll see that, and what that does, it lets us know where we may have a breach in the sewer system that needs to have a repair. As you know, we don't do work on private property, and you know, we'll often get a call from someone that says, hey, I've got a lot of smoke coming up in my front yard, and it's typically their sewer line has a breach in it on their private side. So I want to make that announcement. We're doing about 15% of our entire system. We're working in that area. It's one of the older sections of our system where we know that we have some surface water that inflows and infiltrates our sanitary sewer system. That began July the 28th. We're about maybe 15% complete at this point, so that'll be happening over the next few months. And of course, RJN will deliver a report back to us on their findings. But that's very important. The last time we did smoke testing, we were able to decrease our I&I, or inflow, by 21% in the entire system. So it's a very good project, and glad to see that get off the ground. It's about $1.5 million for that particular contract. Sheila has worked very hard along with several others in our department, Jennifer, Candace, Katie, on the 58th annual ORVA convention. That's the Ouachita River Valley Association. They held their convention here on August the 14th and 15th. It's held every year, but it alternates between West Monroe, Louisiana, and the city of Hot Springs. It drew about 100 attendees from across both Arkansas and Louisiana. The highlights of this particular conference was a presentation by Matt Dunn, president of Christ Engineers, on our water supply project that we've worked on for several years, and also the Ouachita River's role in economic development, navigation, water supply, and then coordinated activities. Our keynote speaker at the conference was U.S. Congressman Bruce Westerman, as well as Colonel Jeremiah Gibson. He's the commander and district engineer of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers out of Vicksburg. So was pleased to have them here for that conference, and the feedback I've received from those attendees were, you know, I think they'd love to move the conference here every year. I don't think Sheila will let them do that. It's a lot of work on our staff, but it was a great conference, and everyone enjoyed themselves while they were here. I think several stayed over to make the weekend in Hot Springs since they were here. The new fire station out on 7th South is progressing as scheduled. It's currently in the framing station stages. Can't get that out. It's got its building slabs. They've been completed. We're starting to see now the walls coming up. We've had a couple of issues out there that the chief's dealing with on some of the concrete, but it's moving along at a very good progression, and pleased to see that. I mean, now you can actually go out there and start seeing what that's going to look like on that site. So as you know, this board has been working on that for decades, so it's really a great one to get over the finish line when that's going to be complete after the first of the year. We just mentioned Captain Moore. You know, he's been with the fire department since 2003. He's a great individual, and was really glad to see the Benevolent Protective Order of Elks 380 recognize him as this year's Firefighter of the Year. So I know he's very appreciative as well. On Thursday, August 7th and 8th, the Hot Springs Police Department held its 4th annual Overdose Response Conference, which was organized really by our Hot Springs Police Department's Overdose Response Team. They had about 200 attendees with about 40 exhibitors. The participants heard from law enforcement, recovery professionals, state officials from across Arkansas, and how each field is responding to the opioid crisis in their respective communities. They also heard from our keynote speaker that was there, Ben Westhoff. Ben's a best-selling author and investigative journalist who infiltrated underground labs in China as an American fentanyl buyer and wrote the book Fentanyl Inc. So really cool to have him here speaking to the group. Want to recognize some of our recent graduates from Alita. On August 1st, we had 3 new Hot Springs police officers, Zachary Alexander, Easton Kohler, and Giovanni Herrera, graduated from the Arkansas Law Enforcement Training Academy Basic Training Program. I know that Chief will have them soon, you know, going through our training and out with field training officers. So glad to see 3 more coming on to our Hot Springs Police Department. I'm gonna save that one to the end. So we've been discussing on what date the city became a city. And there's actually been 2 City of Hot Springs incorporated, all of them here. The first one burned down in 1865 in the Civil War. The second one came in 1876. On April 5th, County Judge J.W. Jordan certified a petition. It was signed by all 467 residents of the city, calling for the city to be incorporated. But however, on August the 11th, 1876, that is the actual date that Governor Augustus H. Garland signed a petition declaring Hot Springs a city. So August 11th, 1876, next year we'll celebrate that. We're working with Steve Harrison over at the Convention Center on our 150th anniversary of being a city. So excited about that, and a lot more information will come at a later date. Also had some big news happening at National Park Service today, and I know the mayor was one of the speakers at that event. The Maurice Bathhouse will be going through a total remodel, and there was a press release today as well as a groundbreaking. But it's a $31.6 million development paid for through the Great American Outdoors Act and their Legacy Restoration Fund. And this is the last year of that fund, so this may be one of the last projects that comes from that particular legislation. But they mentioned today that in 1911 that building was erected for $125,000, and today just the renovations are $31.6 million. But I guess the milestone there is it'll be the first time in many decades that every bathhouse on Bathhouse Row is actually operational and open. So big milestone for them. I don't know, Mayor, if you were going to say a few more words about that. I hope I didn't steal that. And the last thing I got is just thanking the board for the time you spent with staff last Tuesday. It was several hours going through a goal-setting work session that we do every year prior to starting the development of our budgets. We were able to go through our financials, what those projections look like, the status of your current goals and priorities and projects that staff is working on, as well as looking at some of the upcoming goals for the 2026 budget year and beyond. A lot of the goals are long-term ones that we're currently working on that just have different measurements and action items that need to be completed in 2026. There's also a few ones. I know that as a consensus of the board, sports recreation's very important as one of the things that we need to be working on moving forward, and that was evident during that meeting. And I know that several of you, if not all of you, have received several emails, letters from support from those in the community that would like to see sports complexes happen, whether that's on the soccer side of the house, the pickleball, the tennis. All 3 of those, as you know, we've hired half associates to look at several properties within the city, look at what a design could look like, and most importantly, what those would cost at each one of those particular sites or ones that would work. So we're looking forward to getting that back. It's going to be a few more months before we get that, I think, but glad to see that the board is moving forward with that, and in what stages and how we implement that in 26 is still yet to be determined. But I do know that you're getting a lot of communication from those in the community, so I wanted to bring that up and let you know that we are aware, and I know the board's aware, and that is something that we're working on, as well as a couple others. I haven't gotten the report back from Jordan Johnson with JPJ yet, but as soon as we get those back, I'll be getting those 2026 goals out to not only staff but to the board as well, so we'll know where we're going. And we've already opened up our budget models. We're starting to work on those, so over the next several months you'll hear quite a bit more. Mayor, that completes my report.
Very good. At this time, we'll call upon individual directors to regarding upcoming events. Any announcements of an upcoming event? Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my privilege to invite you and the residents of Hot Springs to attend a community meeting that I'll be hosting regarding the highway and street improvements this Thursday, August 21st at 4 p.m. at the Chittum Event Center located at 305 Forest Lakes Boulevard in the Forest Lakes subdivision. This meeting will include a presentation from Derek Harris, the Tri-Lakes MPO director, and he will present plans regarding improvements in paving area highways and streets in collaboration with the Arkansas Department of Transportation and the City of Hot Springs, as well as our own Deputy City Manager, Denny McFate, will review the current status and schedule for paving and striping the city streets. The residents are invited to provide community feedback, and all residents are welcome, and don't hesitate to contact me if you need more information, and refreshments will be served. Thank you.
Very good. Any other announcements of upcoming? Director Holliday.
Thank you. I have a couple of events taking place on the north side of Hot Springs. First of all, on August 22nd and 23rd, Dead Men Don't Gamble, a murder mystery dinner at the Vapors Live. Your ticket includes dinner, live performances, and a chance to solve a murder before the killer disappears into the night. And so on a lighter note at the Vapors, as well, on September 7th, the Park Avenue Community Association is hosting an event called Light Uptown Thanks You. For those of you who don't know, Light Uptown is a committee of the Park Avenue Neighborhood Association that has worked with the City of Hot Springs to put in the historic pedestrian lights up and down Park Avenue. And so this is an opportunity to thank donors who have made that happen and bring neighbors together. There will be food and entertainment and raffles. It is September 7th at 6 p.m. also at the Vapors, which is at 315 Park Avenue. Thanks.
Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. One upcoming event, Labor Day fireworks. This will take place on Lake Hamilton, Highway 7 South Bridge, August 31st at 9 p.m. You can get a front row seat to the magic in the area surrounding the Highway 7 bridge. The fireworks will be fired from barges in the middle of the lake on the east side of Highway 7 and at the first Highway 7 bridge opposite the Doubletree Hot Springs Hotel. And to make matters better, you can also tune in at the same time the fireworks are going off, because the display will be synced with music on radio station 97.5 US 97 Country when fans watch the display. If any rain happens on this evening, the fireworks will be rescheduled for Monday, September 1st. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. The Greater Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce is having their first ever bingo night, August 28th, from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in the Convention Center. You're invited for an evening of fun, laughter, and plenty of chances to win. The tickets are available at the Chamber of Commerce, and our Chamber of Commerce president is here tonight in case you have any questions. He could probably answer them after this meeting. But that is Thursday, August 28th, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Thank you.
Very good. Any other announcements of upcoming? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of items that are considered of routine nature that do not merit individual discussion. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Director Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. We have two action items for this evening. One's a resolution, one's an ordinance. We'll begin with the resolution R-25-159. Ask City Attorney to read by title.
Mayor, this is Resolution R-25-159, a resolution awarding a bid to Redstone Construction Group, Inc. for Phase 2 of the Taxiway A and B Shift Project at Hot Springs Memorial Field Airport. That concludes your reading. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
So moved.
Director Webb, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. And the staff report will be provided by Don Rollette, Airport Director. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we've talked about this project in depth. This is the Phase 2, and we had 2 bidders for the Phase 2 project, which is also the larger of the 3 phases. The low bidder was Redstone Construction Group with $4,770,271.90. This is a 95 grant with the FAA and the state. The FAA will do the 95%. The state will do up to $250,000 under the other 5%. And then that'll leave the local contribution of $15,655. And staff recommends that we award the bid to Redstone Construction.
Very good. Any questions of Don? Thank you.
Thank you.
Have anybody sign up?
No, sir.
Discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final action of the evening is to consider ordinance O-25-32, and I'll entertain a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title.
So moved.
Director Trustee, second by Director Webb. I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-25-32, an ordinance amending Hot Springs Code Title 16, Chapter 2, ordinance number 6513, as it pertains to accessory dwelling units. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion, second to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Director Webb, seconded by Director Garcia. And staff report will be provided by Ms. Kathy Selman, Planning and Development Director. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Well, the Hot Springs Board of Directors adopted a new zoning code on November 19, 2024. It became effective March 1st of this year. And that did contain provisions pertaining to zoning requirements for accessory dwelling units and some of the regulations connected with those. However, a couple of weeks later, both houses of the Arkansas legislature passed House Bill 1503, now known as Act 313, which amended the law concerning how accessory dwelling units could be regulated by local governments. So we do need to make some minor changes to the Hot Springs Code so that we are consistent with Arkansas state law. Planning Commission, at their duly advertised public hearing on July 10th, considering the record, voted 7-0 to accept the staff report findings and recommend that the board approve certain amendments to the accessory dwelling unit regulations. And the changes are as follows: adding accessory dwelling unit as a permitted use in the CTR zone district, increasing the maximum size of accessory dwelling units, noting that accessory dwelling units will have the same building setbacks as principal structures in the same zone district, and changing the height of an accessory dwelling unit to be the same as the principal structure in the same zone district. And as well, made necessary a change designating that each of these accessory dwelling units shall have its own cooking, sleeping, and sanitation facilities, whether these are detached dwellings or attached to the principal structure. And that is it. These are fairly simple changes that will bring us into compliance with state law.
Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Ms. Kathy.
Hi.
Can you share with us and others what this might look like as it relates to this modification or amendment to zoning? Would this look like essentially you've got, you know, a single home family residence, and in that same yard or property is a smaller dwelling,
Yes.
such as the side of a shed, but it has functioning electricity, sewer, water, and can function on its
Right,
own without
right.
any assistance from the home? Is that kind of what this is going to look like?
I think so. I think the size of a shed is somewhat smaller than what the legislators were picturing. They mentioned that it could be no more than 1,000 square feet, which is a pretty good size house, or not more than 75% of the gross floor area of the principal dwelling, whichever is less.
So would you say the focus is more on the maximum and not so much the minimum? Was there any minimum? I don't recall seeing any, but.
There,
can
no,
you-
there is no minimum.
Okay, as far as square footage goes?
No.
And,
No.
I mean, essentially, if we don't pass this, it's in violation of Act 313 too, correct?
Yeah.
We have to make this change in order to be
Yes.
compliant with the law. What
Yes.
once was House Bill 1503, now Act 313, correct?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions, Director Holliday?
Thank you. I just have a question about the rear yard setbacks. Since we had a minimum of 10 feet or prior to tonight, by changing it to the same setbacks, does that, will that make it more difficult for some of our lots? Because some of our rear yard setbacks are greater than 10 feet, correct?
Some are, yes.
Okay. I did not scour the setbacks to check that, but it sounds like that was just, I think, kind of an unfortunate component to this, is that it will make it unlikely. However, could someone also not request a variance for that setback?
I don't know that we could vary something that is set by the state.
Okay.
And so the 10-foot setback, you know, let's remember that this isn't an accessory building. This is an accessory dwelling.
Correct.
So, yeah, it has to meet the residential setbacks of that particular zone, whichever it may be.
Okay, thank you.
You know, some of the, Kathy's, if I read this right, the accessory dwelling has to be at the, what would be termed the rear of the property.
It does.
And I'm just, not that I'm planning anything at my house, but, you know, I live on a steep lot. I built the house down by the water. So I've got all this space in front of my house. And so nobody can see my house because of the slope, but that would not be permitted. I mean, when you're on the lake, sometimes your front of the house is the lakeside, even though the true front of the house, it looks like the front of the house on the, from the street side if you could see it. So, but that wouldn't be permitted, even though there's significant space between the front door and the street.
The,
I just see something like that coming because there'll be a lot of people who may want to have a mother-in-law quarters or something like that.
the front yard faces the street. So, some lots will be more favorably situated than others.
Very political answer. You're fine. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question regarding the section regarding impact fees. It said that the impact fees, it didn't identify what type, it just said they couldn't exceed $250. Is that that's in total or per impact fee? And is it applicable to water and sewer impact fees to county connections?
Well, I bet that's a great question, but it doesn't appear in the zoning code, and I'm afraid I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Did we have anybody sign up?
No, sir.
Discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Director Beard.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Brings us to the Board of Directors' items for discussion. Directors have any items for discussion? Director Holliday.
Thank you. I just sort of was going to dovetail a little on Director Webb earlier. I got to have the fun conversation with Chief Davis today about another lightning strike and smoke coming into my backyard. So again, I will echo that I appreciate our fire department and what they do. And I don't think until this week we realized how many lightning strikes they actually respond to. So I appreciated them moving so quickly and knowing that I wasn't going to have to evacuate my home. So.
Wow.
Any other items for Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Still on that same topic, I would just ask those of you tonight, before you go to bed, to just say a prayer for those families affected by the lightning strikes, to include Birchwood Harbor, Creekview, and even in the area of Director Holliday, anywhere they might have happened. You know, I think they deserve a prayer. They deserve God working in their life to help restore what they consider to be normal again. I think a lot of us take for granted, you know, everything that we have, and I don't even think I could imagine what my life might be like if anything like that were to happen to me. But I know here in Hot Springs, we are just blessed with a lot of great organizations. It was really touching for me, and probably for others too, to just see how great of a response was happening as the events from Tuesday of last week unfolded, and you know, people reaching out and there being somebody to hold their arm and say, we're going to help you. So that meant a lot to me, to see that quick response by our resource center and city manager, and I know it especially means a lot to those that are being affected by what happened last Tuesday. So again, I just ask that you join me tonight and lift those families in prayer. Thank you.
Good. Any other comments under Board of Directors items for discussion? I just have a couple. I'm going to dovetail a little bit on what Bill said regarding the Maurice bathhouse restoration. $31 million, that's a whole lot of money. They are going to sprinkle a little bit on the Ozark, and the Libby's going to get a little bit, and maybe the Lamar was going to have some as well. But that's as Bill said, that'll be the first time in most of our memories that every bathhouse on Bathhouse Row will have a purpose. And let me state that this does not go unnoticed at the national park level, at the most senior office level, and it doesn't go unnoticed at the National Park Foundation, which supports the preservation of the national parks. There's something really special here in Hot Springs with the national park, and part of it is because of its proximity. We're kind of a hand in glove in the downtown area with the city of Hot Springs and the park and the business side of the downtown, and that's very unique and offers a lot of opportunities of working together. But the public-private partnership that the Park Service has had for years and years and years works here in Hot Springs, and it's really the envy of the National Park Service that it's here, and they really want to duplicate this and have it at other national parks. Though it is obviously the density of tourism right here in Hot Springs. I think Steve Arison mentioned there were 9 million visitors last year, and 3.7 million had an overnight stay here in Hot Springs. You know, that's really significant, you know, and for other national parks where people kind of go and visit and then they drive out, there may be a lodge associated with it, but it's not a whole entire community. So that's really, really special for us here. Sounding the horn for the Visit Hot Springs, you know, they just concluded the Babe Ruth World Series. I don't know, how many teams were there? 12 teams, 20 teams?
Yeah, there were over.
Whole bunch of
16.
teams. All across the world came here. And some of these teams came from countries that are in families that really don't have resources, and they were embraced by this community. Jose's took care of the team from Mexico. It provided a whole lot of meals. There's a church here in town that had a mission in Nigeria, and the team from Nigeria came with, and they didn't come with tons of resources. They came not knowing where their next meal was going to come from, and they had plane tickets to get back to Nigeria, but they had to get to Chicago, and they're trying to figure out how to get to Chicago from Hot Springs in order to catch their flight to go back to Nigeria. And this church group embraced them and made sure they were being taken care of. So we have a very, very wonderful and caring community in any number of ways. And so the ORVA conference that Director Garcia and I attended, Ouachita River Valley Association, you know, most of us here in Hot Springs, we don't really think of Ouachita, Lake Hamilton, and Lake Catherine as part of the Ouachita River, and yet it is. But when you go down to Camden, very much so, and in the challenges that a community like Camden has, I mean, one of their comments at the convention was the Corps of Engineers is supposed to keep dredging so they have 9 feet of water, and they only had 7. Well, you know, you go, okay, what's the difference between 7 and 9 outside of 2 feet? Well, it's the difference between running a barge or not, and that's their economic commerce. But they also draw water from the Ouachita River in that shallow pool of water. And here we for years, and of course we're getting more, and we draw it at the lake up the upper Ouachita River channel just below Blakely Dam. And I know we were always fearful if we ever had to have a what was it called, Tainer gates down at Lake at the Lake Catherine Dam fail, that they would have to actually, in theory, kind of drain the lake, and we would be without out of water. So the discussion on economic development up and down the Ouachita River was very, very interesting, because for us it's all recreation, and the further south you go, it may be barges and other economic development. And so a very diverse group with communities with different uses and different needs. So so we're really blessed here, and really appreciate everybody who rolls out the red carpet to our guests, and Director Webb for those who jump into action when they're sound asleep. So thank you all very much. Is there any other business? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. If there's no further comments, I move to adjourn.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. There will be a public comment